What's good, sports fans? Are you ready to elevate your live entertainment experience? Well, let me introduce you to SeatGeek, an amazing platform that connects you to your favorite events while saving you money. With SeatGeek, you can easily find tickets for sports games, concerts, and so much more, all in one place. The interface is user-friendly, making it simple to browse and compare prices. And one of the best features is the interactive seating chart. You can see exactly where you'll be sitting and how much you'll be spending, ensuring you get the best value for your money. But here's the best part. Check this out. By using my promo code, ChalkItUpSports, you can enjoy a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. That's right, $20 off your first SeatGeek order. Imagine catching that thrilling game or concert without breaking the bank. It's a win-win situation. Plus, you'll be a part of a community of fans who eat, sleep, and breathe live events just as much as you do. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to download the SeatGeek app today. And don't forget to use my promo code ChalkItUpSports for a one-time $20 discount on your first SeatGeek order. Get excited. Now let's get back to the show. What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? This is your boy Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on your dose, another dose of Chalk It Up Sports via the Chalk It Up Network. Where no matter if we win or we lose, we just got to charge us to the game. Always grateful to be in the presence of you beautiful people. You know what your job is. You know what your role is. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. It means a lot to me. Goes a long way. This channel, it doesn't move without the people. And you guys have been 10 toes with your boy over the entire season, over the course of the off season thus far. You know, we've agreed, we've disagreed, but regardless, we know that the ultimate goal is to continue our winning ways here in Philadelphia. So make sure you guys stay engaged and make sure you guys smash that like button. We got some things to talk about, okay? Your Philadelphia Eagles have made some more moves. They haven't made home runs, but it seems like they're taking some singles. You know, they're taking some bunts trying to get on base. You get what I'm saying? So, as you guys know, the Eagles have lost a ton of people, but they've lost a handful of people. Let's not over-exaggerate. They've lost a handful of players over the course of this offseason. They moved on from CJ, trading him to the Houston Texans in exchange for a guard in Quinyon Green. Darius Slay signed with the Pittsburgh Steelers on a one-year, $10 million deal. Josh Sweat, he reached a deal with the Cardinals for a four-year, $76.4 million deal with $41 million guaranteed. Let's see what else we got here. Milton Williams signed with the Patriots. He actually had his introductory press conference today with the Patriots. He signed a four-year, $104 million deal with $63 million guaranteed. Isaiah Rodgers, they lost him as well. He signed with the Minnesota Vikings, 2 years, $15 million with $8 million fully guaranteed. And the Eagles were able to re-sign Zack Baun, their all-pro defensive player of the year finalist, linebacker, and Zack Baun. They were able to bring him back on a 3-year, $51 million contract with $34 million guaranteed. So with all the losses, right? Obviously the CJ one was the move that we didn't expect. But I think every other move we pretty much expected. We pretty much had a pretty keen eye for. The one person we said to ourselves we got to bring back is Zack Baun. That was the one person we said to ourselves that really was the crux of the offseason for a lot of us, right? A lot of us said to ourselves, we got to bring back Zack Baun. He's going to be the hardest guy to replace, right? So they managed to do that. On top of that, although the Philadelphia Eagles haven't really had the loudest offseason, it's been relatively quiet. They've made their fair share of moves. Again, when they traded CJ, they got back a guard in Quinyon Green, a former first-round talent. And yesterday they brought in former Packers running back A.J. Dillon on a one-year deal. The details of his contract haven't quite been revealed yet, but they brought him in on a one-year deal, 26 years old. Over his 4 seasons in the NFL, he's totaled over 3,100 total yards, averaged 4.7 yards per touch, and has a grand total of 18 touchdowns. That's receiving and rushing. And yesterday as well, they decided to bring back fullback Ben Van Sumeren. Ben Van Sumeren was originally slated as a linebacker. They used him at fullback a couple times last season, which was pretty cool to see. They decided to bring him back on a one-year deal, listing him as a fullback. So the Philadelphia Eagles are definitely leaning in on their power run game for sure. You're going to see a lot of RPOs, play action like we always do. They're going to be a run-heavy team. Of course, when you got Saquon Barkley, right, and you're paying him what you're paying him, you extended him, giving him a lot of money. And then the Philadelphia Eagles decided to bring in, let me make sure I got this right here for you guys. They decided to bring in edge rusher Josh Uche on a one-year deal. And they also brought in tight end Harrison Bryant on a one-year deal. So those are your latest moves by your Philadelphia Eagles. Edge rusher Josh Uche and tight end Harrison Bryant. Now, again, these moves are not going to break the bank. These moves are not going to excite you, but so much. But what it appears to me that Howie Roseman is trying to supplement the roster with some low-risk, high-reward talents, some early to mid-round talents, right? We're going to get into some details about these gentlemen. We're going to talk more about these guys in a little bit. We're going to start with our guy, Josh Uche, new Philadelphia Eagle, all right? So let's just start there. Like I said, Josh Uche, they signed him on a one-year deal, and they brought in tight end Harrison Bryant on a one-year, $2 million deal. Like I mentioned, these moves will not excite you. And I fully expect the Philadelphia Eagles to still bring in a tight end from this upcoming draft. I still expect the Philadelphia Eagles to draft an edge rusher in this upcoming draft. But when you lose bodies, you want to still supplement your roster, right? I believe let's get to some details about these guys, okay? Let's start with Josh Uche, since he was the first move that came across earlier this morning. So let's bring this up on screen. Give me 1 second. All right. So Josh Uche, like I said, one-year contract with the Eagles. Josh Uche, he's a former second-round pick. He was drafted in the 2020 NFL draft class to the New England Patriots. He went to the University of Michigan. 6'1", 240 pounds, 26 years old. He will be 27 when the season starts. He will be entering his 6th season in the NFL, year 6 of his NFL career. So he's still relatively young, but you would consider him to be a veteran, a young veteran, right? He'll be 27 when the season starts. He spent 4.5 seasons in New England, playing 58 games, and half of his 2024 season in Kansas City, playing 6 games. He appeared in 64 out of 84 possible games with a grand total of only 4 starts. That's not many at all. His career stats, 20.5 sacks, 34 quarterback hits, 64 QB pressures, 19 TFLs, 86 tackles, and 65 solo tackles. Now, his 2024 stats, 13 games played, 249 snaps, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 2 TFLs, 23 tackles, 17 solo. Now, here's the thing. this move is not going to be a needle mover, right? Josh Uche hasn't really had a dominant career. He hasn't. Just speaking for, again, his best season in the league, which came in 2022, he had 11 and a half sacks, 14 quarterback hits, 19 TFLs, 27 tackles, 23 solo. And since 2022, he's had a 16.7% pressure rate, according to PFF, which is ranked 6th among active edge rushers. Now, again, like I said, Josh Uche, he's never really been a consistently dominant pass rusher. And based off of his snaps, he's never really been a starter in his career. He only has 4 starts in his career. He's never, on top of that, he's never eclipsed 400 snaps in any given season. And frankly, he's only had 1 good season in his 5-year career. On top of that, he has battled his fair share of hamstring, ankle, and shoulder injuries throughout his career. So again, I wouldn't overreact to this signing just yet. I would wait to see how he does making it through Vic Fangio and Jeremiah Washburn's training camp. Jeremiah Washburn, he coaches the off-ball linebackers and the edge rushers. That's his specialty. And obviously Vic Fangio does a great job with linebackers. But with Josh Uche being a former second-round pick, and he was able to log in a double-digit sack season over the course of his 5-year career, you ask yourself, is that something Vic Fangio and Jeremiah Washburn can tap into? That's something you got to ask yourself. What can they bring out of this guy? Like I said, he spent his first 4 seasons in New England, and he split his 5th season in New England and Kansas City. His snap counts, in 2020, 178 snaps. 2021, 236, 2022, 374, 2023, 331, 2024 season, 249 total snaps. So this guy has never been a starter. This guy has never been somebody who takes over games. I wouldn't jump out the window and call this a needle mover at all. I think this is something to, like I said earlier, to supplement your edge rusher group. You lost Josh Sweat. We don't know what Brandon Graham's future holds, right? We don't know what that holds for Brandon Graham. So you're weak at edge rusher right now in terms of bodies. You have Nolan Smith. You have Jalen Hunt. You have Bryce Huff there. But you need more bodies. That's where Josh Uche comes in. Like I said, we have no idea if this guy will make it through OTAs. We don't know if he's going to make it through training camp. We don't know if he'll make it to the preseason and get selected by the Eagles to the roster. We don't know. As a matter of fact, remember last season, there were a lot of people the Eagles signed that ultimately didn't end up making his roster, right? John Rawls didn't make the roster. I think Paris Campbell got cut at one point, but then they brought him back. Devontae Parker ended up retiring. Julian Okoro, right? Edge rusher. He didn't make the roster, right? There were, what's my man name? Devin White made the roster, but ultimately got traded or cut, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So, look, we don't know what this guy is going to do. We don't know how he's going to fare. We'll see what happens when Vic Fangio and Jeremiah Washburn get him in the building and they can actually get some snaps in. We'll see. There's still a lot of time left. We haven't even made it to the draft yet. So we'll see what this guy looks like going forward. But he has shown a flash throughout his 5-year career. He's shown he can give you double-digit sacks at some point. Maybe they can tap into that. But also, we saw Bryce Huff deliver a one single double-digit sack season. And the Eagles decided to bet on that, right? The only difference is they're paying Bryce Huff, $34 million? And Josh Uche, they gave him a 1-year prove-it deal, right? We don't know what it may turn into. Remember, Zack Baun was a player that the Eagles found, decided to take a chance on a 1-year deal, and he became an all-pro, became a Defensive Player of the Year finalist. He ended up landing a $51 million deal over 3 years, $34 million guaranteed. We don't know what this guy will turn into, so I'm not going to say bad move. I'm not going to say good move. I'm going to say wait and see. He hasn't, outside of that single season, he hasn't really shown you much. He hasn't shown you much outside of that single season. And on top of that, the disparity between his best season and his other seasons is just so vast. It's so wide. And I wonder what was the difference in that 2022 season where he logged 11 and a half sacks, 14 quarterback hits, 19 TFLs. What was the difference between those seasons or that season and the rest? I'm going to have to do my due diligence and dig a little deeper in terms of maybe the coaching staff. Was he hurt the other years? Again, like I said, he has battled his fair share of hamstring, shoulder, and ankle injuries. It all remains to be seen. But 6'1", 240, 26 years old. He'll be 27 when the season starts. We'll see. We'll see what happens. The difference could be coaching. The difference could be health. You know how he was being used on the defense. It could be. It could be. It all remains to be seen, though. And on top of that, he's never been able to be a consistent starter. Like I said, he only has 4 starts. 4 starts in his 5-year career. Just 4 starts. It's going to be a wait-and-see situation with him. Now, transitioning to tight end. Eagles brought in a tight end, Harrison Bryant, on a 1-year, $2 million contract. I don't know what the guarantees are. They probably didn't guarantee him anything. Who knows? Or if they did guarantee him anything, they probably guaranteed him less than $1 million. So here's the details on Harrison Bryant. He's a former 4th-round pick out of FAU, Florida Atlantic University. He was drafted by the Cleveland Browns in the 2020 NFL Draft. His measurables are 6'5", 230 pounds. He's 26 years old, and he also will be 27 when the season starts. Interestingly enough, both Harrison Bryant and Josh Uche are from the 2020 draft class. He's entering year 6 of his NFL career as well. Harrison Bryant spent 4 seasons in Cleveland, playing 65 games, and 1 season in Las Vegas with the Raiders, playing 13 games. He appeared in 78 out of 84 possible games with 33 total starts. So that's the difference between Harrison Bryant and Josh Uche. Harrison Bryant has been significantly more healthy. He also has significantly more starts than him. Significantly more starts. Harrison Bryant career stats. Now, this is where things get a little funny for Harrison Bryant. He's been a career backup, by the way, but we're going to talk more about that later on. Like I said, he's appeared in 78 out of 84 possible games with 33 total starts. His career stats include 78 games played, 140 targets, 98 total receptions, 877 total receiving yards, averaging 8.9 yards per reception, 10 total touchdowns, 49 first down receptions. And he's only averaged just over 1 reception per game and 11.2 yards per game. Hasn't really been a guy who's gotten a lot of targets, a lot of receptions, a lot of yards in any given game. He's never been a starter. His best season came in 2024. His best season came in 2021, where he logged in 16 games, 28 targets, 21 receptions, 233 receiving yards, averaging 11.1 yards per reception, 3 total touchdowns, and 14 first down receptions. And his 2024 season, his most recent season in Las Vegas, played in 13 games, 12 targets, 9 receptions, 86 yards, averaging 9.6 yards per reception, no touchdowns, 5 first down receptions. This guy doesn't get targets. This guy has never really made a real impact, right? This move for Harrison Bryant, another guy that's not really a needle mover quite yet. We don't know what it's going to be. We also don't know what Dallas Goedert's future holds. We don't know what his future is going forward with the Philadelphia Eagles. There are rumors that Dallas Goedert could be on the trading block. There are rumors that Dallas Goedert could be cut. We don't know what Dallas Goedert's future holds in Philadelphia. but I think he does rank 6th or 5th on the team in terms of his cap hit. Dallas Goedert's cap hit is about $12 million. And I think the Philadelphia Eagles are trying to look at life beyond him. I personally am not ready to move on from Dallas Goedert. I believe Dallas Goedert still has something to offer, at least over the next year or two. I'm not ready to move on. I believe the Philadelphia Eagles should and definitely will draft a tight end in the upper half of the draft, in the early part of the draft. And I would like to see that new rookie tight end play with Dallas Goedert. You still have Grant Kakatera in the building. You still have E.J. Jenkins in the building as well. I don't know how the Eagles view E.J. Jenkins in the long term. I don't know how they view him for this season. But E.J. Jenkins has measurables. He has traits that you like, the size, the athleticism, right? But I think the Philadelphia Eagles, they need, especially whoever they draft, they need their tight end to be able to catch the ball, get open, and to be able to be a decent blocker. And Dallas Goedert didn't have his best season blocking this year. He's had better. But Goedert, like he always does, has battled injuries. In 2022, he played 14 games. In 2023, he played 12 games. And in 2024, he was only available to play in 10 games. So since 2022, Dallas Goedert's snaps, Dallas Goedert's games played, his starts have dwindled by 2 games every single year since 2022. And he just turned 30. So that's not a good sign for a 30-year-old tight end who's looking to, I don't know, get an extension, extend his career in Philadelphia. It's not a good sign health-wise. But when Dallas Goedert is healthy, when he is healthy, he is a dominant force. He is a dominant force when healthy. That is a fact. Arguably top 5 in the league when healthy. That goes without saying for Dallas Goedert, but he has to be healthy. And that's the part the Philadelphia Eagles are having a hard time reconciling with, especially when you won a lot of your games. You won the bulk of your games when he wasn't even there. That's a fact. You've proven that you can win without him. It's not a good sign for Dallas Goedert. Not saying he doesn't make the Eagles better, because he does. But the Eagles prove that they can win and run an efficient offense without him. But I don't want that to come across as if I want to move on from Dallas Goedert. I don't. But you bring in another tight end, obviously for depth, right? You bring in another tight end for depth. You still got E.J. Jenkins and Grant Kakatera on his roster. You still got Dallas Goedert on his roster, right? You moved on from C.J. Uzomah. So will Harrison Bryant make it through training camp? Will he make the roster? We will find out. He'll probably be a cut candidate. You never really know. Grant Kakatera is still technically under contract, so you ain't got to worry about him really. Dallas Goedert, that's the wild card. And that cap hit really is the real issue. If Dallas Goedert's cap hit was not what it was, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles would even stress about moving him. But his cap hit is $12 million. They're going to have to find a way to bring that down, especially if they want to keep him. You got to bring that down, or they're probably going to move on from him. And that's not really what I want. But yes, the Philadelphia Eagles bring in Harrison Bryant at tight end, 1-year, $2 million deal. And they bring in edge rusher, off-ball linebacker, Josh Uche. Josh Uche spent most of his career with the New England Patriots. He spent half of his 2024 season in Kansas City. I know some of you guys are just coming in. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. But Josh Uche, for you guys that are just coming in, 6'1", 240 pounds, 26 years old, will be 27 when the season starts. His best season in the league came in 2022, where he had 11 and a half sacks, 14 quarterback hits, 9 TFLs. But outside of that 2022 season, he hasn't really been a dominant force in his career. His whole career, 5 years in the league, only 20 and a half sacks. That's an average of 4 sacks a season. Not really a dominant force, but it's production nonetheless. And then 34 quarterback hits, 64 QB pressures. right? 19 TFLs. He has something there. He has something. There's not a season where he doesn't have a few sacks. He averages about 4 sacks a season just based off of the 20 and a half over the course of 5 seasons. He averages 4 sacks a season. So there's something there. But being drafted in the second round, the Patriots clearly felt like they didn't see enough from him to keep him around. And the Kansas City Chiefs decided to bring him in for the second half of their 2024 campaign. And he didn't really make much of a difference there. Didn't accumulate any sacks, no TFLs. Barely saw the field, really. Barely saw the field. Only logged in 87 total snaps over the course of 6 games with the Chiefs. 2022. Only 4 starts in his career. So I don't want you guys to overreact to these signings either way. I don't want you guys to feel down on these signings. I don't want you guys to feel overly excited about the signings. I think we should just take them as what they are. And I think they're just signings to supplement your roster prior to the draft. Get yourself some bodies, tap in with some relatively young talent who maybe you can bring the best out of. Maybe you can maximize them on a 1-year deal. Maybe Josh Uche comes in and gets you 5 sacks as a rotational edge rusher, right? He's averaging 4 sacks a season. So if he can get you 5 sacks as a rotational edge rusher, I mean, that'd be cool, right? That'd be cool. And like I said, you lose Josh Sweat. You may move on from Dallas Goedert. You lost CJ Uzoma in free agency. You need to add depth to your roster. Brandon Graham, we don't know what his future holds. You need depth at edge. You need depth at tight end. And I think those are going to be the 2 positions the Eagles target, especially in this upcoming draft. I think they're definitely going to draft the tight end. I think they're definitely going to draft an edge rusher. All right, let's get to these super chats, and then I'm going to read some of you guys' comments. And make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. It means a lot to me. It goes a long way. All right. Big Chris with the $2 super chat. Thank you, Chris. I really do appreciate it. S. Blunt, my OG, triple OG, what's going on? He says rounds 1 and 2 are rounds to target starters. If they get rid of Goddard, then we have to commit a top 2 pick towards the tight end. That part. That's going to tell us a lot, right? If they move on from Goddard, that's a good point, S. Blunt. That's a good point. If they move on from Goddard, you definitely have to expect them to target tight end in the first 2 rounds. At least that's what I would do. That's what I would do. I would target a tight end in the early rounds. That would be the telltale sign for me. If you move on from Dallas Goedert, you don't want to wait too long in the draft and miss out on the top tier talent at tight end. You don't want to gamble and try to find a tight end in the 4th or 5th round. You don't. You want to try to get the best of the best, because although this is a deep tight end draft, I want to get the best one. I want to be able to get like one of those top 3, one of those top 4 guys if I can. That's what I want to try to do. As a matter of fact, why don't you guys put some tight ends in the chat? Yeah, chat, do me a favor and give me some tight ends you guys are keen on. Who are some tight ends you guys would love for the Philadelphia Eagles to target? Thanks for the super chat, S. Blunt. I appreciate it. Big Chris says, keep Goddard 1 more year, draft the tight end. I agree, 100%. Antonio Holmes says, Fannin out of Boston College, right? Humble Service says Taylor Mason. Okay, Harold Fannin. Yeah. Out of Boston College. Right? No, not Boston College. That's not Boston College. I'm tripping. Geez. Mason Taylor out of LSU. Gunnar Helm, Elijah Arroyo. Elijah Arroyo was a beast. Taylor Mason, Tyler Warren. Well, Tyler Warren, I don't think the Philadelphia Eagles are going to be able to grab him. I think he'll be gone in the first round, early first round, maybe top half. As Blunt says, Mason Taylor or Taylor Mason. No, Mason Taylor. Mason Taylor. Big Chris says Eagles potentially have 21 picks in the next 2 drafts. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. By the way, I know yesterday I said 2026 and 2027. I meant to say 2025 and 2026. They're going to have at least 20 draft picks over the next 2 drafts, over the next 2 draft classes. Antonio Holmes says Luke Lachey out of Iowa. I like Iowa tight ends. Sam Laporta, George Kittle. The fan DeLorean says Gunnar Helm is a 3rd or 4th round target. Really good hands, good blocker. Big Chris says we still need to draft the edge rusher. That's true. David Vaughn says you're saying keep Goddard. It's not his decision too. I'm sure everyone agrees, but he only agrees if the money's right for him. I mean, of course. Obviously, it's a 2-party proposition. I'm simply speaking on the idea of what I would like to see. Obviously, it requires the Eagles and Dallas Goedert to play ball. So I think that's obvious. KGK says, look up Elijah Arroyo in the Senior Bowl. Okay. Brahim Jones says Mason. All right. Look, though, I think regardless, they got to get one of these top guys, right? Tyler Warren out of Penn State. Colston Loveland out of Michigan. Harold Fannin out of Bowling Green. Elijah Arroyo out of the University of Miami. Mason Taylor out of LSU. Gunnar Helm out of Texas. Terrence Ferguson out of Oregon. Mitchell Evans out of Notre Dame. Jake Bringenstool out of Clemson. Luke Lachey out of Iowa. There's a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys, man. There's a lot of guys that they got to look at. A lot. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Now, edge rushers. Who are some edge rushers you guys like right now? Edge rushers. Let's talk about that. Because you bring in Josh Uche to supplement your edge group, but you know you're going to need more than that. Obviously, the top edge rusher is Abdul Carter by a long shot. Abdul Carter, James Pierce Jr., Shamar Stewart, right? Those are like the top 3 edge rusher products. Michael Williams, Landon Jackson, Mike Green out of Marshall. Jack Sawyer, Nick Scorton, Josiah Stewart, Braden. It's a lot of bodies, man. A lot of bodies. Who are you guys looking at edge rusher? Big Chris with the super chat says, I have faith in Howie. He will plug this roster. Yeah, I agree, right? And, it's not really, for me at least, right? Speaking for myself, it's not really blind faith. I just trust his track record over the past few seasons, over the past handful of seasons. I trust his track record. I think he's earned our confidence. Howie Roseman, that is. I believe Howie Roseman has earned our confidence. And whoever you bring in on the defensive side of the ball, I trust Vic Fangio can find the way to bring the most out of these guys. Tiffany Dark Chocolate says some of y'all really underestimate Howie Roseman. Some of them do. Some of them do. And I don't really understand that part. Especially these guys on like WIP and the Fanatic, right? Howie Roseman has had a very strong track record these past handful of seasons. No one's saying blind faith, right? You should always question certain things, but at the same time, his resume speaks for itself. He knows how to handle the money. He's been doing pretty well with drafting these past handful of seasons. I'm not going to overreact to losing Josh Sweat or Milton Williams or Slay or Isaiah Rodgers. I'm not going to overreact to that. Obviously GJ was the shocker, but I'm not going to overreact to that. I'm not going to overreact to that because I think there's a plan in place, and Howie understands that he has a lot of young guys that's coming up that he wants to pay, that he sees the future in, who have shown to be legit blue chip prospects. Jalen Carter, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, especially. Those are Howie Roseman's crown jewels on defense. Cooper DeJean, Quinyon Mitchell, Jalen Carter. Maybe you throw Nolan Smith and Jordan Davis in there, but those are his crown jewels. Melly J likes Michael Williams. Antonio Holmes like Mike Green, but Mike Green does have some essay cases surrounding him. Humble servant says Jelon Walker. Donovan Izuruku. Jack Sawyer out of Ohio State. Jordan Birch. James Pierce Jr. Antonio Holmes says Princely and Ivy from Ole Miss. Trap 08 says he won't fall, but James Pierce would be crazy. Joseph Augustine says, all I know, I ain't worried about nothing. I'm letting Howie cook. I get it. I totally get it. Like, as Blunt says, Abdul Carter, seriously, there are discussions James Pierce may drop because of his attitude. That would be a steal at 32. What are they saying about his attitude? What are they saying? It's always funny when they talk about a guy's attitude. That's always funny to me. What do you mean by attitude? Because I'm confident? What do you mean by attitude? That's always that's always a funny thing. That's so subjective. His attitude. They said that about Jalen Carter, his attitude. Come on, man. I ain't trying to hear that. Looking for Sasuke says Green got a he says Green got a weird case. Why is he around? Oh man. Big Chris says, who else thinks Jalen Hurts will take another step in his progression? I do. I think Jalen Hurts is going to take a very nice step this season. Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. Jalen Hurts is the type of guy who doesn't really get satisfied. He doesn't settle. Jalen Hurts, he won't be satisfied until he retires. And even then, he'll always look back as to what he could have done. Jalen Hurts is a maniac when it comes to work ethic. So I fully expect Jalen Hurts to take another step in his career. I really do. Sweet Chin Music says, let Big Dom evaluate him and call it a day. Oh, yeah, he's talking about who'd I say? Talking about he got an attitude problem. Who was that? James Pierce, right? James Pierce, that's who it was. Man, I can't stand when people do shit like that. His attitude. Antonio Holmes says that they said all Pierce coaches said that they couldn't wait until he was out of the program. Wow. Really? Really? Let's look at James Pierce. Let me read his profile. James Pierce, 6'5", 245 pounds, out of Tennessee. 7.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 38 tackles, 23 solo tackles. Ran a 4.47 at the combine with a 1.56 10-yard split. It says here, make sure we got this right. Says here, when it comes to James Pierce, he's a Charlotte native who emerged as Tennessee's premier pass rusher. Pierce's meteoric rise from 4-star recruit to SEC terrorizer speaks volumes about his development. After earning playing time as a true freshman in 2022, he exploded onto the scene in 2023 with 10 sacks and 14 and a half tackles for loss. I like that. The former Chambers High School standout brought his disruptive style to Knoxville and never looked back, racking up 19 and a half career sacks while consistently drawing double teams and forcing offenses to scheme away from his side. What makes Pierce's ascent even more impressive is his rapid technical growth. Despite being relatively raw coming out of high school, he quickly mastered Tennessee's LEO position, becoming equally comfortable rushing from both 2- and 3-point stances. His performance in the 2024 Citrus Bowl against Iowa, including a momentum-shifting pick six, showcased his playmaking ability on the biggest stage. That game proved to be a springboard into a dominant 2024 campaign where he registered 11 TFLs and 7.5 sacks, despite constant attention from opposing offenses. The 6'5", 243-pound edge defender brings a rare combination of length and explosiveness to the field. His 4.47 speed and the 40-yard dash puts him in elite company, while his frame suggests room for additional muscle without sacrificing his trademark burst. Beyond the measurables, Pierce's game film reveals a natural pass rusher with an advanced understanding of leverage and angles, traits that helped him record over 110 quarterback pressures during his college career. Wow, the dude is a athletic freak. Let's get to those weaknesses. It says here, currently lacks ideal play strength at the point of attack, sometimes getting displaced against more powerful offensive tackles in the run game, shows some inconsistency maintaining leverage when teams run directly at him, particularly against gap schemes and pulling guards. Can get too focused on rushing upfield, occasionally creating escape lanes for mobile quarterbacks by losing containment responsibilities. Needs to develop a more reliable counter move when his initial rush is stalled, currently too reliant on pure speed to win. Must improve ability to stack and shed quickly against longer offensive tackles who can get their hands on him first. I'm not seeing anything about the personality here. I'm not seeing too much about the personality. But what I am seeing is that he develops at a rapid rate. That's what I am seeing. I mean, as Blunt says, there have been some reports suggesting that James Pierce's demeanor and interactions during the NFL evaluation process raised questions among scouts and team executives, aka character concerns. All right. Sounds like somebody trying to tank his draft stock so they can get him. Tony B says, didn't they say something similar about Carter? Yeah, they did. They did. KGK says Pierce is still raw. That's what's scary. Yeah. KGK says he's too confident. Well, listen, you come to the NFL and you play with guys like Jalen Carter, you play with guys like, Nolan Smith, that's going to come down. You line up against Jordan Mailata, you line up against Lane Johnson. Yeah, you're going to get humbled. That's the good thing about having elite tackles and Mailata and Lane Johnson. All that cockiness and arrogance you come into the league with, Mailata and Lane Johnson will humble the fuck out of you. They will humble the hell out of you. So I don't care who they think has a character issue. I don't think what edge rusher they think has a character issue. Or who's confident or too cocky. Yeah, Lane Johnson and Jordan Mailata got something for that. They got something for that. I ain't worried about nothing like that. They'll get humbled real quick. But James Pierce sounds like an interesting prospect. Like I said, what stands out to me is his ability to develop. He's teachable. He's teachable. That's what stands out to me. Teachable, ability to develop at a pretty rapid rate. I like that. I like that in a guy. Personality shit, you can work that out. The Philadelphia, listen, they say that about Jalen Carter, right? And Jalen Carter has become one of the best teammates on the roster. You know, you hear nothing but good things about him. He's matured. You know, entering his third year in the NFL, he's matured. A Super Bowl champion by year 2. Jalen Carter, his resume is building. And we have the infrastructure in place to handle any personality trait. But again, the Eagles pick at 32. I don't think James Pierce falls to pick 32. That's what we got to keep in mind, right? Now, granted, the Eagles have a lot of draft picks. I think the Eagles are going to allow the draft board to take shape. And then if they see a player that they really want, they're going to probably package whatever they got to package to get that guy. But picking at 32 is a tough spot to be in. It's a tough spot to be in. If there's not a player on the Eagles draft board or that they've done the research on or whatever, they're not gonna overreach for a guy. They're not. But I'll tell you this though, they're not going to stay at 32. They're not going to stay there. That's one thing I can guarantee. The Eagles are not going to stay at 32. They're going to either move up a few spots or move back. That's what I think. All right, make sure you guys continue to smash that like button. Make sure you guys stay engaged. I'm your humble host, Tone DeShields II. You guys are locked in on Chalk It Up Sports via the Chalk It Up Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game. I'm your humble host, and I'm super grateful to be here with you guys. Smash that like button, you guys. S. Blunt says, would you drop back and collect draft assets? See, that's the thing. The Eagles already going to have like 20 of them. That's the thing. They already going to have like 20 of them. So do you really need any more? I mean, you know, I don't know, S. Blunt. I don't know. But like I said, I know they're not going to stay at 32. That's one thing I know. They're not going to settle for the 32nd overall pick. They're either going to move up to get a guy or they're going to trade back and do what you said, collect draft picks. That's probably what they're going to do, either or. But Sweet Chin Music agrees with you though. He says, "Hey, don't hesitate if you can't get your guy, don't hesitate to trade back." And remember, 17 of those upcoming 20 draft picks are going to be in the 4th round or higher. I'm sorry, 11 of them. 11 of them. Make sure I got this right here. 11 of the 20 draft picks. And let me update this too, by the way, because it's not 2026 and 2027. It's 2025 and 2026. Let me update that. All right. So yeah, man. Over the next 2 draft classes, or the next 2 drafts, the Philadelphia Eagles are scheduled to have 20 draft picks. 20. They could have more. And 11 of those 20 draft picks are in the first 4 rounds. So I see what you're saying, that's Blunt. Don't get it twisted. But I think if they see a guy they want, they go and get him. They go get him. But if things don't fall their way, they're not going to reach. They'll trade back. That's what I think. Also, as a reminder, you guys, if you're just joining the show, your Philadelphia Eagles, they signed edge rusher Josh Uche, former Chiefs, former Patriots edge rusher, to a one-year deal. And they also brought in tight end Harrison Bryant, former Raiders, former Browns tight end Harrison Bryant, on a one-year, $2 million contract. The guarantees have yet to be revealed. Obviously, you have to think about what the future holds beyond Dallas Goedert. The Philadelphia Eagles have clearly made it known to Dallas Goedert that he can find a trade partner that's willing to pay him whatever he wants, but maybe they feel like they're not willing to pay him whatever he wants at this point, to find out his value out there. And the Eagles know they need depth. Also at the edge, they know they need depth as well. When you lost Josh Sweat, you don't know what Brandon Graham's future is. You're going to need a guy like Josh Uche to supplement your roster, at least until further notice. We'll find out if Josh Uche can make it through Vic Fangio's gauntlet. We'll find out if Josh Uche can cut it as one of Jeremiah Washburn's edge rushers. We'll find out. We will find out. But look, you guys, we're going to get out of here. Make sure you guys smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the show. I just wanted to tap in with you guys and check the overall temperature and let you guys know what's going on with your Philadelphia Eagles, give you guys some updates on the latest moves that have come across the wire with your Philadelphia Eagles. I haven't seen any other moves as of late. But today they signed Harrison Bryant, tight end, formerly played for the Raiders and formerly played for the Browns. They signed Josh Uche, former Chiefs, former edge from the Patriots as well. Yesterday they brought in, or they re-signed, Ben Van Sumeren to a one-year contract as a fullback. They also brought in former Packers running back A.J. Dillon to pair up with Saquon Barkley. Signed him to a one-year deal. A.J. Dillon, over his first 4 seasons in the NFL, accumulated over 3,100 total yards, averaged 4.7 yards per touch, and has accumulated 18 total touchdowns. All right. And as a reminder, the Philadelphia Eagles managed to re-sign Zack Baun to a 3-year, $51 million deal, $34 million guaranteed. So those are your Philadelphia Eagles moves. Zack Baun, A.J. Dillon at running back, Ben Van Sumeren at fullback, tight end Harrison Bryant, and edge rusher Josh Uche. And it's straight like that, you guys. Smash that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. And we'll be back at it tomorrow like we always are, okay? I've been your humble host, Tone DeShields II. And you guys have been locked in on your dose of Chalk It Up Sports via the Chalk It Up Network, where no matter if we win or if we lose, we just got to charge it to the game.